Without further ado, though, let us say hello to the former UFC heavyweight champion and a future potential UFC champion, his daughter, Bella Mir. We've got Frank Mir and Bella Mir here. How exciting is this? This is unbelievable. Hello, guys. Thank you so much. Frank, it's great to see you. And we've obviously talked a million times over the years. Now to do it with your daughter, who's turning into a future star in her own right, this is pretty damn cool. So congratulations to you, Frank, first and foremost, on everything that you're doing with Bella as of late.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I think it's every father's dream to make sure that his child finds something that they love and can, and also, make a living doing it. So, like, just it's definitely a dream come true for me. Not that I want her to do this, but she's doing something she loves. She's good at it, and is able to, take care of herself with it.
And Bella, it's great to formally meet you as an adult. I do remember every time Frank would do the media days, whether it was the open workouts, the press days, the whole family would join. Your mom would be there, Jennifer, your siblings would be there, you would be there. Now to see you turn into this, it's pretty remarkable. He said it's a dream come true for every dad to, have their kid find what they love. Was this always your dream? Did you always want to do this as you watched your dad in the prime of his UFC career?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to follow in his footsteps and, bid down on that legacy that he was creating. And I just think it's awesome that I'm here. It's crazy to think that I've even been a part of like the UFC BJJ card. It's like one step closer to the real dream.
Bella, do you remember how old you were when you first? Most young girls probably aren't thinking about fighting at 6, 7, 8. Do you remember how old you were when you started to think like this is something I really want to do?
I think I didn't get like really serious with training and this is like really what I want to be doing in my future till I was like 13, maybe 14. But when I was younger, I always was in the gym. I always was doing like my dad's like kickboxing classes and jiu-jitsu classes and wrestling over at Gorman when my dad was like training over there. So I've always like been in the gym. I always felt like that was like second nature to me. And that was what I was supposed to be doing, but I didn't realize like that was going to be my future and what I'm going to be dedicated with until I was like early teens.
Frank, when she started to tell you this as an early teen, what are you thinking? What is your wife thinking? Are you worried? Are you trying to convince her otherwise, or are you all in?
We're worried, and obviously, being a professional martial artist is like being a professional musician. I draw a lot correlations lines easily. I think learning a musical instrument, having music be a part of your life is like having martial arts. It's a way to learn about yourself, way to overcome situations, just a way to grow and adapt. So the martial arts for my family is just kind of a way of life. Getting paid for it is like going and joining a rock band. You know what I mean? Like for everybody that made it, how many thousands of guys haven't. So that was our fear of her wanting to become a professional mixed martial artist, was just that, there's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of luck involved in it, injuries that you don't get, that you just, the right things line up at the right time. So that being said, we didn't want to, but then she just pushed and was so driven that, the writing was on the wall. My wife actually sat down with us. We had to sit there and think and go, we're either going to be a part of this journey or we're going to be watching from the sidelines. So we chose to go ahead and use the experience that we had to help her, get the most she can out of this.
Belle, as far as the journey is concerned, you have multiple journeys that you're on right now. You've got the wrestling journey. You're still in college. You're doing great things. The jiu-jitsu journey, the fighting journey. You're talking about the Olympics. Is there a predominant journey, though? Is there one that's more important than the others in your mind?
That's so hard because I feel like they're all important to me. I definitely feel the end goal is UFC champion. That's always been my end goal to all three sports that I'm competing in. Right now, I feel like my main focus would be wrestling just because I'm still in college and I base a lot of my time off of, okay, when is college season over? Okay, I'll do the UFC BJJ card in the summer when after US Open and NCAs. So I feel like right now it is based off wrestling because I feel like I don't have much time left. Like I feel 2028 and then it's like, am I going to wrestle after 2028? I don't know. Maybe I just go full in on jiu-jitsu and MMA. So, but yeah, definitely MMA is the end goal and UFC champion. That's for sure the end goal. But right now I would say wrestling.
As far as competing, which do you enjoy the most?
Oh, I feel like it's the event. I feel like if I'm at the US Open or if I'm at NCAs, like in the moment I'm like, oh, like wrestling's so much fun right now. But then if I'm doing the UFC BJJ card or if I did the Fury card back in December, it's oh, I think jiu-jitsu is like what I really like. Or if I just had like one of my pro fights, like after all my fights, it's like the whole trip I always like look back on it. I'm just, man, like I really like MMA right now. So I feel like it's just whatever moment I'm in, honestly.
Frank, which makes you most nervous? I'm coming at this as a father who has an 8-year-old daughter, and I can't imagine her getting punched in the face. You're obviously ingrained in this world. This is a part of who you are. Your family's fabric is entrenched in combat sports. But which makes you most nervous when you're watching your daughter compete?
MMA, just because, the striking aspect of it, like watching her dive in and get caught with a knee or something, the injuries are more prolific to me. With the jiu-jitsu matches, you tap, worst case scenario, there's a damage to the joint. Wrestling, again, is not really a high injury sport, comparative to what MMA, because once you start throwing knees and elbows, those things make me nervous because, as a father, that's where it comes out the most, where I'm like, man, she takes a shot at the wrong time, runs into something. We've seen some pretty, bad injuries.
We don't often see athletes doing 3 different disciplines at a very high level like she is. Are you okay with that, or is there any part of you that's worried that she's stretching herself too thin?
It does at times, but so far, what Bella does prioritize. So even though we are juggling and she is a multi-sport athlete, she's prioritizing college wrestling right now because it's the time period she's in. So we kind of all sat down about 3 years ago and had this discussion. Does Bella turn pro right now? And jump right into the UFC. She was 17 years old, and actually Dana and I were actually on the same page more than anybody else really in the group, as far as saying, hey, time's on her side. Let's just, we can wait. There's no rush to jump into the UFC. So let's go ahead and follow the college wrestling dream as far as it can. Jiu-jitsu will be there until she's, bury her in the ground. Obviously, with matches, and the MMA will be the next thing. And when it comes time for that, we'll focus on that fully. Right now, these are just building blocks to help for the culmination of her ultimate goal, which is to be the best martial artist possible. But right now, focusing on wrestling at this time in her life is relevant. It's the most important aspect for her to focus on.
Bella, before you joined us, I mentioned that you're returning to MMA on July 27th, and this will be about 3 years since your last fight. Why the big gap between fights?
Well, so when I went to Iowa, my first 2 years in college, they weren't fully supportive of having fights like during the summer because that was my plan. I was going to go to college and then fight during the summers when I'm off of wrestling, but they weren't that supportive of it. So I feel like that was the first holdback for the first year. And then when I came back last summer, I actually was like planning on having a fight, but it was really hard, like trying to get opponents and a lot of people saying no. So I actually was gonna fight last year, but there was just a lot of just stuff people wouldn't
Okay.
fight and whatever. So then this year finally we got someone to fight me. But the first year, yeah, and then the first year also it was hard at Iowa just because of junior worlds and trying to train for that. But yeah.
Is that part of the reason why you transferred out of Iowa?
Yeah, I would say the main reason was the injuries, just because I was getting injured so much, like like my entire second year, I can't even tell you how many injuries I got. I'd be back in the room for like a week or two, and then something would happen, and then I'm out for 6 to 8 weeks. And then I was like on that same cycle all the way to nationals. I mean, at nationals, I was wrestling on a broken foot, and my knee was completely braced up. I looked like a robot, and my shoulders were both just torn, and I just had surgery. So like, and my neck, everything about it, it was just I genuinely wasn't loving wrestling anymore because of dealing with all these injuries and trying to wrestle through it. It made wrestling not fun. So then when I transferred out and I transferred to North Central this year, I mean, I had no injuries, knock on wood, but I felt great and I genuinely loved wrestling again.
Frank, I mentioned at the top, I remember vividly when you would do all your media stuff on Fight Week, you'd bring the whole family. There are other fighters who like to treat Fight Week as a business trip, and they leave everyone at home, they do the job, and then they come home. Do you think you immersing your family and your kids into what you were doing led to this? Do you think if you would have kept them at home, Bella's maybe doing something completely different, or was this inevitable?
I think it was inevitable, but I do think this definitely paved the way to make it easier and more of a transition where she truly understood what she was getting involved with. She was around us so much. I mean, so many people want to be a fighter, but they've never even been to in someone's corner. So my daughter, from a baby, was in the audience. And then even before she turned pro and was fighting, I had her corner me so she could walk down with me to the cage and see what that felt like, the energy, the back room. So not only did Bella train like everybody else as a martial artist, but I exposed her different aspects of it. So when she finally said, yes, this is what I want to do, I felt more confident that she knew what she was getting into.
And you have 4 kids total, right? For Frank, you have 4 children.
I'm sorry, 3. I have 3 children.
3. Do they also compete?
Yeah, my son's Cage actually he competes as multiple state champion in wrestling there for Gorman High School. Actually set the school record for most wins. He's going to Landers University. He leaves this August to go wrestle in college. And he was a little bit more late to the game, though. He didn't really take wrestling seriously as Bella had until about his sophomore, junior year of high school. He was very focused on football. There's more the culture there at Gorman. And then the bug bit him, and he just really focused on wrestling more. And then my youngest actually is going to go to Faith here in Las Vegas. It's another great academy to go to. But he's really focused on football. So again, he trains. They all do jiu-jitsu. They all have to wrestle. They all have to. In my household, it's just it's like you got to learn how to read. You have to do math. You got to do martial arts. And so I don't want to get paid for it, but you have to be a part of your life. But right now, my youngest's passion is football.
Could I ask you, Bella? I mean, this may be a silly question that you've probably been asked a million times, but what is it like having Frank Mir as your dad? And how old are you when you start to realize, like, this guy is a badass, he's a former UFC heavyweight champion, he's a legend, a Hall of Famer, where you start to realize, like, my dad's just a little bit different than the other dads?
Yeah, I didn't realize until I got a little older. My parents always make this joke around the house when I was younger. People would ask me what my dad was, and I'd say he's a model because he would have like a bunch of magazines and pictures of him like half naked with gloves on. So I was like, oh, he's a model because he's always being posted and all his pictures around the house. So I didn't realize till I got older that he actually was one of the greatest heavyweight champs in UFC history, and all of his submissions and the way that he would just rip people's arms off. I didn't realize that he was that good until a little later in my life. But I never realized that it's not even like what he accomplished or what he did. It's his mindset and the way that he takes martial arts in his entire life. Like how he always has his weapons. He just showed me last night. He has this like axe of a cane in case like he's like walking around and he could beat somebody up with it. So he's always like taking martial arts in every aspect of his life, and I think that's just so cool that not like to truly like live and breathe in it. Like I've never met anyone like it unless like it's my dad.
To that point, I actually heard Bella say at the post match press conference after UFC BJJ 1 that you, Frank, like you go to bed listening to instructionals and things like that, so it seeps into your brain. Is this true? Are you still doing this at this age? And if so, why?
Oh no, I'm constantly listening to things. But I mean, I'm a fan of YouTube. There's so many, there's so many creators out there that have great information, and I love to listen to it. And I don't necessarily fall asleep purposely to try to absorb information from it. It's just that I love following. I watch it till I pass out. I wake up in the middle of the night. I'll listen to it for a little bit more. So I have a list that just keeps going through and runs over. But that's just I'm constantly like I can't shut it off. I don't know anybody. I never did martial arts to make money. To me, the money aspect was to justify why I'm at training. So that if my wife's like, hey, you spend a lot of time at the gym. I'm like, well, here, look, it's going to be worth it at the end. Here, you take the check. I don't even care. I just want to go train and live and breathe this and just immerse myself. And even now, as my body, obviously, age has caught up to me and some of the mistakes that I made throughout my career, how to deal with injuries, but my mind is free. It can constantly develop. And so the great aspect of it is I get to push that aspect of my mind much further than it ever was. And then I get to convey it to my children and pass on that knowledge that I took to a different level that was given to me, and then they can take it to the next level.
Bella, favorite Frank Mir fight? Does one come to mind?
Probably the second Nogueira fight, just because I feel like it was a lot of his mentality and trying to deal with adversity. It's hard like beating someone really, really good twice, 3 times, 4 times. So when he beat him the first time, I feel like that plays a lot in his mentality. It's like, oh, I have this much confidence, like I'll do better, or I'll knock him out again because he knocked him out in the first fight. So the fact that Nogueira like put it on him and had him in the guillotine, and the way he was able to outposition him on the ground too, and especially the fact that Nogueira is like, his accolades fall under jiu-jitsu, and a lot more accolades in jiu-jitsu than like my dad has, and he was able to get the Kimura in the end. And I genuinely like I feel like it's never like a specific fight where I'm just like, wow, like that impressed me. It's always the fact that my dad's able every fight in his career, the fact that he's able to beat somebody what they're best at, the way he's able to knock out Crow Cop, and he's world level kickboxers, the way he's able to beat Brock on the ground and get him in the knee bar and able to submit Nogueira. It's like it's so hard like beating people what they're best at, and my dad was just really good at that.
I remember that fight in Toronto, and it was such a big deal to see someone submit Big Nog. And I mentioned this after your win a couple of weeks ago, and I think Frank knows this. Like Frank, you had swag, you had aura, you were when you walked down to that song, amazing. Like you had a vibe to you, and I felt that even the way you got up, like you almost get up like ain't no thing, like you brush. I felt that, I saw that in Bella when she got up after the submission win. Is that you emulating your dad, or is that the Mir way? Is that just ingrained in you?
I genuinely think that was just a gene that he just happened to pass on, and every single time I just feel like this energy that like after fights, like I just get in this like feeling, and I genuinely, I don't know why I do it. Well, now I know why when I see him.
Yeah. But you see it too, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. It was funny. We both handle the same way. We both have that two sides to our personality, the very passive, loving, carefree side that Bella has when she's home. I'm the same way, very laid back. And there's that bravado that we have when we compete, of just this, I'm the ultimate samurai type mentality, conquer the world. And it's funny because we both, not only did we act the same way after the fights, I saw it, but we both were embarrassed about it later when we convert back to this personality. When we're sitting there, it's kind of cringy, like, oh man, did I really do that? Every time I watch myself, and then I watch my daughter do the same exact thing and also be embarrassed about it afterwards.
I love it.
I'm like, oh, it's perfect.
It's so good. What is it like for you as a dad, Frank, to hear your daughter speak of you with so much love and admiration, to see the way she talks about you is an incredible thing. What is that like for you to hear this?
Oh, it's, yeah. Excellent.
I'd imagine these are tears of joy.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the richest man in the world to have your children love you as a father. I think anybody who has children can understand, to be a father, to be a role model, to have your children admire you, to look at you like that. I mean, in one sense, it's scary because I want to hold to a certain image they behold of me. But at the same time, just like I couldn't imagine living any other way. I pity anybody who doesn't get to feel love for their children that I get to feel. There's nothing like it. There's nothing, no reward, no championship, no submission, no accolade at the end of my career with my hand is raised that ever is equal to how that feels right now.
Well said. By the way, you were around 6, Bella, when Frank, your dad, had his rivalry with Brock. Were you aware of any of that at the time? I mean, he was kind of a big, scary man. Were you ever nervous around any of these guys?
Like anyone that he was fighting?
Or, I mean, the Brock one was a very notable one. The rivalry was very intense between the two of them, but I think you may have been too young to remember any of that, right?
Oh, she gave me advice after the second fight.
No, yeah.
Really?
Do you remember this, Bella?
Yeah, I remember after the second fight, because the first one he got the submission, obviously. The second one, I remember telling him afterwards, I was like, why didn't you armbar him?
Oh, my.
No, and just not just throw it out there. She was like, we're in the jacuzzi, I'm sitting there, I'm sore, I'm sitting in my back of my house, and she says, Dad, when he did this, how come you didn't just turn your hips and grab the armbar? I was like, that would have been a great idea, but I missed it. Like just sometimes you compete, you'll see.
That is amazing. Were you at the fight? Were you at UFC 100, Bella?
No, I don't think so. I was in the hotel with mom. She was freaking out, yelling at the TV.
How old were you when you attended your first Frank Mir fight?
Well, baby.
Yeah, I don't think
Let's go to
I've been
mom to
able
that
to
one.
remember.
She was an infant.
Do you remember which fight was the first one?
The only reason we stayed home for the Brock fight was because Ronan was only 3 weeks old.
Yeah, that's right.
And I couldn't bring him, but
At that time, my youngest was 3 weeks old. But up to that point, the minute Bella was born, all the kids were at the fights. We'd have little headphones on her ear to shooting, to make sure to dampen the noise.
Yeah.
But that was one fight they didn't go to because my youngest son was born June 9th, and that fight was like July 8th. So he was not even like 30 days old. So to bring him into the arena, so that's why they sleep back in the hotel room.
Okay, so I was telling the guys in the back, like, I'm on a text thread now with Frank, Bella, and your wife, Jennifer, who has always been by your side. And now I feel like this is like the virtual version of the text thread, which is very exciting. Now I have to, is that your wife speaking? Is that Jennifer speaking in the background?
Yeah.
Can we bring her in for just a quick second? I just want to ask her this one question. Is she okay with that?
You okay, man? Oh, yeah, we're sorry.
Okay, this is what I want to ask. When your husband retires, you probably think like now the coast is clear. Like now you can sit on a beach and enjoy life. Now you're going through the whole thing with your daughter. What is this like for you? Now these nerves and the emotions, I can't even imagine what it's like when it's your actual daughter as opposed to your husband. Could you tell us what it's like going through this now all over again?
Oh my gosh. I actually have cried before. Like, it's just a lot. I always tell Frank, I've been keeping journals like since we got together, and I always tell him when he finally, I mean, I don't know, I think we're here, but when he finally is like, okay, I'm done, I'm going to write a book called My Life with the Champ, because it's, he has his story, but it's a lot to be the wife and the supporter and the parents or, of a fighter. It's a lot. And it's, you have to wear so many hats. And here I thought like, we could finally, I thought it was over.
Yeah.
And then when Bella, I cried. But now when I watch Bella and watching her post interview from her last, the UFC BJJ one. I mean, she just is meant to do this. It's like, I don't think anybody, not just because I'm her mom, but I mean, I think anybody that watches Bella cannot argue that she's meant to be here. She's gonna have such a great journey, and I'm so happy to be a part of it, and I'm so proud of her. But yes, there was a lot of tears. I think I cried like a couple times. Like, it just to do this all over again, it's a lot. But no, I'm so proud of her.
I love it. And yes, you do have that star-like quality. And so the next event, if you will, is end of July, this MMA fight. Then you're back at school for 2 more years, Bella. Is that it?
Yeah. You just go year by year. I really want to win NCAAs this year, and I really want to win U23 Worlds. I don't think I could leave wrestling without feeling like unfinished with goals that I have, since I was little. So definitely go back after and train for Worlds in October. And then, yeah.
And then Olympics, maybe.
Yeah, that's always been the goal. Every time I go see Dana, and he's always like, are you going to train for 2028? I'm like, well, yeah, probably.
And is the goal then MMA and UFC after 28, if all goes according to plan, not before?
Yeah, I'm like trying to like think about it. I feel like that would be ideal. I've also like thought about maybe just doing like contender series like every summer or maybe like twice a year. Just because college wrestling will be over, so I won't be like in school or anything. And I'll have like more time. Where I've thought about maybe just doing some prelim fights in the UFC. But it's just I feel like I'm just going day by day, and when that time comes, me and Dad and my coaches will think what's best like for the plan.
And will you walk out to Amazing too?
I'll walk out to that when I have my first title fight. Everyone will go crazy off of that.
Absolutely. Frank, did you hear that what I said about Ian Freeman's daughter? Do you have any interest in this, or do you want to stay away from that?
Oh no! As far as a fight there, that'd be kind of a legacy fight, huh? But Bella, it seems like I was not aware of it until you were bringing it up. But then when you said that she fights at 125, I'm like, that makes things kind of difficult because Bella is a bit of a it's not easy to make 135. Bella wrestles even 145. Walks around like in the mid 150s, and she's super lean, as anybody can see. So cutting down to 135, that's a pretty strict battle. In fact, actually, I didn't get to have dinner for Father's Day because Bella's here at the house while she's training for the fight, home for the summer. We had to wait till she took off. And then me and the boys and my wife snuck over and had all you can eat sushi. All right, now we can eat real quick. This coast is clear because it takes over the whole household, her making weight.
I can imagine. This is amazing. It's great to see. Congratulations to the whole family on all this great success. I know you're still involved in MMA in a big way, Frank, with UFL and everything that they're doing there, which is great as well. But nothing more important than this. Great to see you in your daughter's corner as well. It's a beautiful thing. So Bella, congratulations on all your success. Good luck to you on July 27th. Looking forward to that. And to Frank and Jennifer, congrats on being tremendous parents, raising such great kids. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care. There they are, Frank Mir, Bella Mir, Jennifer Mir, the whole family there. An amazing thing, and I have a feeling she's going to be a superstar. I have a feeling that, the UFC obviously very much behind her. Frank Mir was a huge, huge part of the UFC, especially in those early days as they were getting off the ground, building the heavyweight division. UFC 100 main event was gigantic. Brock versus Frank, one of the most heated rivalries, I would say, in MMA history. And it was a no-brainer to have that headline UFC 100. They fought back at UFC 81. Steve Mazzagatti may have gotten in the way, but it was a win for Frank Mir, and a lot of people thought that maybe it was a little bit too soon for Brock. They ran it back at 100. Brock wins, goes up to the cage and starts foaming at the mouth. Incredible stuff. And I guess Bella told him that he should have went for the armbar. Love that. An amazing story, and definitely wish her the best. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.